Okay, yesterday we're learning the din of grinding, and we're discussing the way it is, the concept of medicine, because years ago they used to grind the herbs to make it into medicine. So therefore the Chacham said, you're not supposed to take medication on Shabbat, but we learned there's a lot of exceptions to that rule. But there's another exception to the rule, basically like this: if it's any serious thing, for sure you take medications. If it's a regimen that you take on a regular basis, antibiotic, you can take on Shabbos. It's preferred not to take vitamins on Shabbos, because again, vitamins are not a food, and you're taking them for health, but it's not really necessary on Shabbos. You can do without it on Shabbos, take it after Shabbos or whatever. But the exception to that is if what you're taking as a medication is really food. To give you a simple example, what happens if somebody hates tea? They will never drink tea, but they have a terrible sore throat, so now they want to drink a cup of tea, not because they like tea, but because it's medicinal for the throat, or if they have a cold, they'll take with lemon juice, not squeezing the lemon, all those things. So they'll do it like that. So again, because it looks like a food, so you're not, even though you're taking it for medicinal purposes, the bottom line is it's food. Food you're allowed to take on Shabbos, so that's not an issue. What?
Vitamins are also like more like a food because they just provide.
So if you chew it, if you chew it, that's a food. Swallowing it is not a food. Halachically, you don't make a bracha on something you swallow without tasting it. Like you don't make a bracha when you take medicine. Even halachically, I don't want to get off too much, but if, let's say, we learned already, the only time you make a bracha on water is if you're thirsty. If I drink water, not because I'm thirsty, because I just want to drink water, so then halachically you don't make a bracha on it. Because water is not considered a food unless if you're thirsty. If you're thirsty and you drink water, then you make a bracha. But if I'm drinking water, let's say I want to swallow a pill. Okay, I'm not thirsty, I wouldn't drink water, I'm just taking it because I want to swallow a pill. So then halachically I don't make a bracha on the water. So medication that you swallow is not a food. Something you chew, a candy you chew. A piece of food you chew. A liquid would probably be also easier because again, liquid is a food. Yeah?
But if you happen to be thirsty when you're taking the medicine...
Oh, then you make a bracha on the water. Yeah, I'm just saying if you're not thirsty, you're just taking it because you need to swallow the pill. What?
If the medicine tastes good, you have to say bracha?
So they cleared in the Shulchan Aruch. In Shulchan Aruch it says, if you take a liquid medicine, pill you swallow, it does no taste. Shulchan Aruch clearly says in Berch Sanenin that if medicine tastes good, you make a bracha. If it tastes bad, you don't make a bracha. But it doesn't say, most poskim don't say, it just says if it tastes very good, you make a bracha. If it tastes very bad, you don't make a bracha. How about if it's neither here nor there? So many poskim hold you make a bracha. Because you're still benefiting from it. Anyway, let's get back to here. So therefore, that's the union of medication that people should just vitamins, things that you don't have to take. Or like we said, if you have to take antibiotics 3 times a day, or twice a day, you try to take that instead of 3 times on Shabbos, you take twice on Shabbos, once after Shabbos, or whatever you can work out. Now let's get to the different thing over here, also with the grinding. Now we learned already there's a din that there's no Tochen after Tochen. Now once something is ground, there's no din of grinding. But that's not if it's cut into little pieces and you cut it even smaller, so then there is grinding, because maybe the smaller piece is more grinding than the bigger piece. So I'll give you a very interesting example that they bring over here, but it's not only in this, it's in brachas, and it's a question in brachas also. There's something called cornflakes. Now, just to explain it, what bracha do you make on cornflakes? So really, some cornflakes could be ha'adama, and some cornflakes could be shahakal. I'll give you another example which is relevant to this din of Tochen also. What bracha do you make on potato chips? Make ha'adama. What bracha do you make on Pringles? On Pringles you make a shahakal. It's also potato chips. It said befedish on the container, potato chips. So why this potato chips do you make ha'adama? And why in this potato chips do you make a shahakol? Why on these cornflakes do you make ha'adama? And other cornflakes, it looks exactly the same, tastes exactly the same, but you make a shahakol on it. So the din is like this, and this applies to cornflakes, it applies to potatoes, it applies to many things, bachal potatoes. And that is like this. Normal potato chips are basically sliced potatoes, and then they fry them. So when you're eating a potato chip, a normal potato chip, yeah, it's a piece of potato that's fried. So what bracha do you make on a potato that's fried? You make ha'adama. A baked potato, you make ha'adama. But Pringles is not sliced potatoes. Then why do all Pringles look exactly the same and regular potato chips don't? Because they're made a different way. I saw a movie a short video clip, how Pringles are made. It's very interesting, by the way. But Pringles are made like this. They grind the potatoes. Then if you look in the ingredient, it's dehydrated potatoes. Dehydrated potatoes means like dehydrated mashed potatoes. If you buy dehydrated mashed potatoes in the containers, right, or the bags, and you have to cook it, whatever. So dehydrated mashed potatoes or dehydrated potatoes or whatever it is basically they grind it into a powder, and then they remove the liquid that's dehydrated, right? A person, God forbid, is dehydrated, they lost liquid. So dehydrated means they take out the liquid from the mashed potato. And now that it's a powder, so then they can form it any shape or size that they want. So because potatoes, once anything becomes dehydrated, it's not the fruit anymore. It's not the vegetable anymore. So therefore, on regular potato chips, which are sliced potatoes, you would make ha'adam. Pringles, because Pringles are already smashed up and ground and dehydrated, some Pringles, it's not the prominence of a potato, so therefore you make a shahakol. So let's get back to Shabbos now. One second. So if somebody would take a regular potato chip and go like grind it up in their hands, that would be Tochen on Shabbos. Because a potato thing grows from the ground. It's a slice of potato, and now you're grinding it. But if somebody takes a Pringle and grinds it up, no Tochen after Tochen. It's already ground up, and it's the same thing here. So you have the same thing with the cornflakes. If you look at the ingredients, sometimes it says corn, sometimes it says corn flour. If it's corn flour, that means it was already ground up. So number one, if it was ground up when you eat cornflakes and milk or cereal like cornflakes, then you make a shahakol on the cereal because it's ground up corn. It's not adam anymore. If it's pieces of corn, then it's pieces of corn. So then you make adam. So the same thing comes back to Shabbos. So if you grind a cornflake which is ha'adama, that means it's still corn, so then you're grinding something that's from the ground. So that's Tochen on Shabbos. But if you have a cornflakes that's shahakol, because it's already ground, so then there's no Tochen after Tochen. So then it wouldn't be a problem.
So in the soup that has potatoes and different type of
fruits, vegetable, yeah. The soup is adama. Yeah. Yeah, because it's pieces of vegetable.
How about mashed potatoes?
So mashed potatoes again. How do you make mashed potatoes? So sometimes you could buy in the store, it's already reconstituted mashed potatoes, I think it's called. So if you look at the ingredients, it says dehydrated potatoes, and then they make it into. So now it's dehydrated potatoes. So on that mashed potato, you would make a shahakol for sure. Now, what bracha do you make on regular mashed potatoes? You take a potato and you grind it up. So the truth of the matter is, you probably would have to make a adam on it because there's always some pieces, chunks, pieces of potatoes, so then you would make a adam. Technically, if you ground it up, it probably would be a shahakol.
If you have mushroom in a soup.
Mushroom is shahakol anyway.
Right, but we have it in the soup with the potatoes.
Yeah.
So what bracha you say?
It depends. What is the majority, potatoes or mushrooms? That's the halacha. Iker and tafel, when you have two things, we're going off into brachas, so. But if most of them are potatoes, the soup would be adama. If most of it is mushrooms, but it depends what else you have in the soup.
You cannot do two brachas at the same time?
No, because sometimes you could. Sometimes you could. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a cholent. Okay? You ever eat cholent here? Okay. Huh? Cholent, it's in your language. Jews call it cholent. I don't know what others people call it. Okay. So now, you have in the cholent, you have like this. I'm not going to tell you all the ingredients because that's the secret recipe. But you have basically beans, barley, potatoes, meat. That's basically it, with spice, whatever. So now, what bracha do you make on this cholent in shul? Cholent we have in shul. What bracha do you make on it? So if you look at most of the ingredients, halachically would be ho'adama, because most of it is potatoes and barley and beans. These are all ho'adama, because it's not made. Barley is only mezainus when you make it into a flour, but just barley itself is ho'adama. So most of the cholent is ho'adama. So al pi din you make ho'adama on the whole cholent. But what happens, this is especially Shabbos you could do. What happens if I happen to like the meat better than all the other things? So the halacha is, we're going off Shabbos into brachas, but it's cholent, so it's Shabbos. So what happens if I like the meat? I like the meat better than all the other ingredients. So if I make ho'adam already on the cholent, I cannot make a shahakol on the meat. Because the primary is ho'adama, because it's the majority. So therefore, if I already made a bracha on the primary, I can't make a bracha on the secondary. But if I like meat better, so before I make a ho'adama on the cholent, if I take out a piece of meat and make a shahakol on it, and then I make a ho'adama on the rest of the cholent, that I could do. But once I make a ho'adama on the cholent, I'm not allowed to do that anymore. Yeah.
Can you take the meat with the barley, and if you prefer the meat, to say shahakol?
No, if it's a little bit with the barley, yeah. What?
Let's say that in the cholent bowl, it's majority like barley and soda and adama, but then when you put it in your bowl, it's majority meat. What bracha would you say there? We're still saying.
You mean in your bowl you took more meat than the other stuff?
Yeah.
Then if your bowl is more meat than potatoes, you can say, they make a shit. No, you go on your own personal bowl.
Barley soup is mezainus or adama?
Barley is only ho'adama. Wheat, barley, oats, rye, spelt is only mezainus or hamaitzi when it's made into a flour. If it's not made into a flour, now there's another aspect which is like getting late already, but if you cook it and by cooking it sticks together, then the Alter Rebbe holds it's also hamaitzi or mezainus. But when you have barley in a cholent, the barley doesn't stick together. Look at the cholent, it's not sticking together. So barley itself is ho'adama. Wheat itself, it's 4 minutes. No, I do it here.